So we are picking up here with our OpenDJ radio, and what I'm going to be doing is finishing the theming on the site. So let's go ahead and do an ng serve and take a look at where we're at. And then also I'm going to start up the back end. Give it just a second to load. Don't worry about this. We see this all the time. I'm not really sure why this happens. If anybody has any idea, let me know, because all I have to do is just that. And just keep rotating it from one to the other. And then it compiles successfully and it'll run. Okay, we can log in. And here's the app. We have our chat, although my message box is pretty small over here. Maybe I want to put send message on the left and then make it. But yeah, so we have our purchases here, but we don't have those hooked up at the moment. We have our requests, so we can request a song here, which we're going to say is Miley Cyrus Party. And we'll put that up here at 10 pixels, and I'll add it. When I add that, it should clear this box. So in my room, TS, when we are adding that in my search song request TypeScript, I should have a request song search snippet, which I should be setting to and then this dot search snippet is equal to nothing. So we'll try that again here. We'll search for it. You can see it. We'll do a 10 pixels, add it, and now it's cleared out. We'll say, oh yeah, the chat is working fine. And I wish that the chat was more sophisticated. But it's okay for now. It'll work. This, I really want to span this, and then, so we'll do that in a minute. If I look at my playlists, this looks fine. Delete playlists, this should have a, so in my notepad, I want to have a confirmation here for delete. So let's look up a Angular confirmation dialog modal, and we want to do that with a 7 or CLI. Here's our open dialog. This is perfect. So it's called a confirmation dialog service. It's come built into Angular. So in this one, for my song search request component, I'm going to inject the private confirmation dialog service, which is a confirmation dialog service. Interesting. So I almost want to create another module for this. So I'll make a new folder in here and I'm going to call it a confirmation dialog. And then in this, we're going to have the first file is confirmation dialog.component.css. And then I'm going to duplicate that and I'm going to change this one to be HTML. And then I'm going to add another one here. And I'm going to make this one TS. Because you're making the confirmation dialog component. So we'll just get rid of this then. And I'll create a new one and do an ng generate serve component. And we're going to call it a confirmation dialog, which is a module app. And then I'm also going to ng generate a service called the confirmation dialog. And I'm going to put that one in services. So one thing that I'm thinking about here is tomorrow when we do PayPal, do I want that Terry Windows, oh my god. Tomorrow when we're doing the PayPal work, do we want to run that client side or server side? I think it makes more sense to do it client side. The other service was confirmation service, which I should have put in the services, okay? So that's fine. Let's open up my app module. This is shared. You absolutely can. That's not accurate. Why is it doing that? There it is. Angular 1 or 2, this is 7. I'm using CLI. Okay, we're good. Looks like I need to log back in. Oh no, there it is. Playlist is good. Looks fine. Currencies. Need to update this page, but that's later. This one looks good, and we need to do this search. But back here on my confirmation box, when I look at the HTML on this, I'm just going to bring in what I got here from this other window. And we'll need that to match the TypeScript, which is this. So we're inputting, we can just format this. This needs implements. There we go. We have something here called a active model. But I know where this comes from. What is that? I'm just looking at here. Terry. So full of negatives. This model service is passing in the model, but I don't see that. So it's being generated from the service. It's being used in the service, but I don't even see where it's being defined. No definition. Gotta love when you get an incomplete example or when there's something that's hidden in it. I don't know if this one's gonna work. I really like it, but Keith says TypeScript is better than in JavaScript. I agree with that. That's fine. I don't see where this class is created. I'm going to look that up on the internet right now because this is very strange. It's like pulling from some common library that I don't know about. This guy. NGB active modal. I don't see why I'm not able to use this. You need to have ng bootstrap. Interesting. Why didn't I see this before? What's config? Well, this is better. Let's look at what this one is. Go ahead and kill that. Yeah, we saw the same thing there. Thank you. So we'll scratch this. And instead what I want to do is a mat-dialog is what it looks like. There we go. And I want to have a function in here called, well, I probably want to have a service for mat-dialog that opens a dialog, but I'll just create a function for right now called open dialog, which returns nothing. And then we'll just do a dialog ref here is equal to this dot mat-dialog dot open, and it wants a component here, which I have in this one as a dialog overview example dialog component. Aren't I currently on a component? Yeah. Okay, so we nest the component here within the, so I'm going to add it down here. Where's my component? There. Okay, we'll add that one. Then I have a dialog data here, which I'm passing in my constructor. Home at dialog. Second. So when we open this, it's going to be a dialog overview example dialog, and then we pass in some parameters here, which I can do like my width of like 250 pixels, and then we could do some data, which I'm just going to follow this example, which is name this dot name and animal dot is this dot animal. And I'll look in the up here, and I'm just going to add quickly a name, which is a string, as is a animal, which is a string. I hate TSN. Pisses me off. Happy New Year, Fetty. 2016, how are you doing today? Welcome to the channel. That looks good. Then we have something here called mat-dialog data. I don't see where that's coming from. Just a second. I think that you can actually just bring that in directly as from Angular material as mat-dialog data. And then dialog data, I'm going to add on my interfaces class, and I'm going to say it's called public, we'll just say it's a interface dialog data, iDialog data, which will be animal and string, and then a name as a string. We all hate TS-lint. That's good to know. Pissing me off. I don't have resharper either. It's called iDialog data now. This is supposed to end with the word component. TS-lint. Piece of crap. All right. Just a second. Just want to make sure that I have this right. So we want to add it to the module here as the dialog overview example component. Okay, and now my selector says that in HTML, this thing which is called, not that one, interesting. So I'm just doing this right on top of this search song thing, but I shouldn't. What I should be doing is I should make a new thing called ng component, and we're going to call it a dialog. WebStorm has that autocorrection for TS-lint. WebStorm is also commercial, says A Fallen Hope. Keith says TS-lint just holds shitty dev sans. Sorry, generate component, dialog modal. Module app. Okay. I can get rid of this. And I can remove it from here. And I'm okay with that. So I'm going to make a new component for this. So in my component, I want to have this bit. With the license agreement. called dialog modal. Easy enough. My TypeScript. I'm just going to have simply open dialog. And then we'll bring in the mat-dialog here. And I'm just going to have these two example properties, which are not going to stay here for very long. What? Yeah. What's the problem? Oh, I'm being dumb. Okay. And now in this, I'm going to bring in my other component down here with my license. And I'm going to say that this is a dialog overview example dialog. I don't see the selector. We'll add the word component at the end of it. Add material. And you have something here called iDialog data. And you can bring in here a mat data dialog data. We look at my app module. I can remove that one, and this one, and this one. I can add in here the dialog model component. VS Code is open source based on Electron. I've never heard of that one. To which Electron is nothing. However, the pluggability has TS linting extensions. A Fallen Hope says, I'm not hating on IntelliJ or JetBrains. I'm just saying that what he's doing VS Code is great for it. Yeah, but WebStorm is expensive, says Fetty. That was my initial argument. Fetty says, JetBrains has a good product, but it's expensive. WebStorm is commercial. Yeah. I have not heard a use case that VS Code doesn't handle that WebStorm does. I'm just going to call this a dialog component. And I'm going to add it to my app module. I'll change this selector here, which is supposed to start with what? App. Okay, that looks good. There is no CSS for this example. Oh, interesting. Why would they do this? They did this so weird. Okay. This is the modal. In the TypeScript, this is the modal. They did this so weird. They made two components in here. So I'll make another one here called the dialog modal .html, which should be called a app dialog modal .html. And in this, I'm going to add this stuff here. Did that build? This says that it doesn't have a component, but I see it right here. I don't know why they did that. Call this iDialog data, and then I want to say my data here is equal to my this dot data dot So it's back. I don't think I made an app dialog component yet that works. Let me close that and open it back up. So let me get rid of this, and I'll add this into this template. I forget how to do that. Two gigs of memory. I hate that. My overlay uses 14 to 20 gigs of memory when it's running. Happy New Year, Bubby Bite. So I sort of hate this example of a component. Maybe I can find a... You link something for me there? This is the one I was trying to do. Why is it so, in my opinion, stupid? They're declaring two components and then passing this HTML file. This is their page. So let's add a path to it, just temporarily, to my dialog modal, which is a dialog component. And then in my here we'll add one here just for a second called dialog with no icon, and I'll just make it say dialog. Why would a model require a route? Oh, a modal? Because it came with a test form. Wrong one. It's dialog modal. That one. He said, yeah, I saw how to integrate this with, of course I meant that. Come on, guys. Okay, what's your favorite animal? So it didn't open that as a dialog, right? Should open it as a dialog modal. We'll call this .open dialog. Hey, Bubby Bite, thank you for that 100. It is more, after all, 300 bits. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate that support. Oh, look, is it working? So on the page, it should say, what's your name? And it doesn't, so let me go back here. When this dialog component loads, it should say this. So in my app module, it's called dialog modal. I'm navigating to it. So why is it not even displaying the correct page? Hey there, the Star Wars lover. How are you doing? Okay, now it's working. That was my modal. It's totally off base, but it's there. So let me do an inspect on this. And its positioning is, I made it a flex. No, didn't care about that. Why is it so small? It should contain this information, which it's grabbing from this component. So what's up with the positioning? Looks really nice, the big project you got here. Are you going to release it on GitHub or make a website for the service, or all this alley, or just keep it as yours? This is a music request called OpenDJ Radio. We're going to be completed here in just a couple days. I really am hoping before the end of the day, to be honest. It's mostly completed, but it needs to go through testing. Yeah, it'll just be, it's opendjradio.com. I'm going to clear this one out. Try it again, let it reload. The overlay container is just awful. How can this be the example? Well, look at styles, CSS. Hey, hold on, I'm missing a chunk. You got a basic container here. Will that make a difference? Alright, instead of just trying to follow the example, why don't we step through it? A dialog is called by calling the open method with a component to be loaded in an optional config object. The open method will return an instance of mat-dialog ref. Okay, so I'm doing that on my dialog component here when I go and I call this. Then I subscribe it here. when I close it. That makes sense. In this one, you're injecting mat-dialog ref like it's saying, and then you're closing it on no click. And then it talks about sharing data. So why is it totally off? Angular material modal not on screen. You have to configure your dialog contact via entry components in your app module TS. mat-dialog module is in here, so I don't need to worry about that. Tells me I'm supposed to have it as an entry components here and include these two, just the component. That's what internet says. Let's try it. That fixed it. Wow, interesting. Very interesting. Very, very, very interesting. Let that rebuild. Is it not saving? It doesn't seem like. Okay, so we have an example here, and I hate it. So the template here, defining, and my selector. And then I'm injecting this data. That seems fine. This is an example of showing me how to do it. So this dialog is actually all I need. But oh, I don't think that worked. Oh, no, it did. I'm out of time for the day. Happy New Year, everybody. I'm going to go start my festivities as well. I will see you guys tomorrow. But if not, maybe on Thursday. But if not, then on Saturday morning. I'll see you guys a little bit later. Thanks so much for staying with me. The site will be up here shortly. I think we have most of the functionality completed. We have just a little bit of the theming to do. Maybe tomorrow what I can try to do is some of the PayPal work, because we need to implement the PayPal with the cart, and we still have essentially 4 days on the book to complete the app. We're also looking for beta testers beta testers. So if you're interested in beta testing, let me know. Thanks again, guys, for staying with me. Discord.pixelhorrorstudios.com. Also, make sure you check out youtube.pixelhorrorstudios.com. Happy New Year, Bobby Bite. I'll see you guys in the morning. Have a good one. Oops. Oops, oops, oops. All right. I will see you guys in the morning. Have a good one. Bye.